Yeah, TJ Sanders, defensive tackle from South Carolina. He's listed from the Combine at 6'4", 297. He is, from reading about him in Lance Zierlein's piece at NFL.com, 3-down solution at defensive tackle, that he can do a little bit of both. Good good rusher from the middle. He, of course, is not like a monster. I mean, he's got the frame for it, but he's not even 300 pounds. So looks like a kind of a versatile defensive tackle that you might have to pick at 30, because it looks like from some of the mocks I've seen, he sometimes goes early in the second round, which if you're the Bills, you don't have an early second round pick. So that would be maybe you reach 5-6 picks.
Yeah.
Some would call it a reach if you picked him at 30. So maybe a first round prospect for them.
Yeah, they have 2 late seconds, really, right?
Yes, they do. 2 late seconds.
56th and 62nd.
But that's another defensive tackle that they are having it on a visit. Tomorrow, they'll have him in on a visit.
You know what they could do? I mean, they could do a million things. We all sit here and watch Beane move around the board quite a bit. I think they could move up in the first if the board falls a certain way. Mm-hmm. I think they could move out of the first. And wouldn't it be such a Beane thing to do to move from 30 to 40? But then to use 56 and 62 to go to 42 or something like that. Or it wouldn't shock me at all if they find a way to come out with 3 second-round picks as a little sweet spot here. So, maybe they move down in the first and then use the capital from that trade to move from 56 up to 42. Whatever you get to drop down. Just hypothetically here, looking at a value chart. If you drop from 30 to 40, that's 180 points. Like, okay, somebody gives you 180 points. Mm-hmm. And then to move up from 56 plus 180 is like the 38th pick. Mm-hmm. So you're drafting 38th and 40th and 62nd. And if they do that, right, I just feel like, whatever, fans will be pretty happy. I'll put it this way. Doesn't it feel like it'll be really hard for Beane to blow the draft from a public opinion standpoint? We know what they need. They know what they need. Yeah. It's pretty straightforward. You need a corner, a defensive tackle, and the third choice could be, I guess, a debate. But it's probably receiver. It might be safety. It might be another defensive end. There seems to be a pretty strong, hey, we know what's up here. This team is pretty complete. Yeah. Your offense is pretty complete. If they go receiver in the 4th round, Joe, there are a couple guys I'm going to like quite a bit if they can find him in the 4th round or move around for him. But I just have a tough time thinking that we're going to come in Monday after the draft weekend and say, what did they do? How could they have done this? Right.
What could they do that would have any sort of outrage? Like on a grand stage.
Trade with the Chiefs.
Trading with the Chiefs would do it.
In all seriousness, that was the only thing about last year's draft that we really had. They went receiver and safety and defensive tackle, and they added a bunch of pieces. And the rest of it was, all right, you did the things you had to do. You spent your number one asset on a receiver, which most thought you had to. Which guy you were going to get was debatable, and maybe that's still up for discussion. But the biggest thing that they did last year in the draft that kind of got people at least paying attention was trading with Kansas City.
Right. So they could do that again, and that would have outrage.
And outside of that,
if they drafted a running back, there would be outrage, right?
From me, yes.
If they drafted a tight end, of course, but that one I don't even think is really possible.
Also outrage from me if there's a tight end, yes.
If they drafted an offensive lineman, would there be outrage?
Yes.
They love a guy so much. They know they don't have a need, but they just love the guy. They had him ranked 9th.
Yeah,
and he fell to them at 30, and they picked a guard.
Can't do it. Guard.
Okay, what if I made it a tackle?
Can't make it.
Well, even if it's a tackle, it's going to be, what are we going to come in the next day saying? Can he play guard? Right? A center?
It's really tough to envision a high piece on offensive line. The time will come for that.
What about this one? Would there be, maybe not from you or me, although maybe even, would there be outrage if they drafted a certain type of wide receiver? Like at 30, that they picked Jaden Higgins, who's the 6'4", big body guy, not really a speedster. They draft another big receiver that's not really that fast. Like, would that incur outrage from fans? A certain type of player at that position?
I don't think so. The thing about receiver, Coleman is this as well. Like, Coleman has his detractors, and he has those that wonder if he's cast in the right role, but any receiver with Josh Allen is going to get the benefit of the doubt to get some time, right? We saw it with even think about the way they talk about every single player on the team. Kincaid, oh, he was hurt. Give it a little more time. All right, well, we'll see how that goes if it's going to happen this year. Curtis Samuel, well, he got off to turf toe at the start of the year, and that's why it didn't exactly work. Amari Cooper, well, it was a chemistry issue. There's almost this built-in benefit of the doubt. Give Josh a little more time to cook with this guy. And with Coleman, there's the injury that kind of stops his season, which was off to a pretty good start. So if they draft another, I guess you're asking if they draft a slow receiver?
Slow or slot, even. Is there a type of receiver that would make people outraged if they put a big investment into it?
Outrage would be too much. If they go slot guy or somebody that has played the slot and they have visions of putting him to the outside, I almost want to say Joe Brady. I'm ready to give a little benefit of the doubt here as well because he's put together a pretty good offense. Mm-hmm. He's shown that he can scheme looks up for a lot of players. That's the thing about their receiver core. I want somebody on the outside they can scheme touches the way they scheme touches for Khalil Shakir. Shakir gets so many touches built into the game for him. And whether it's out of the backfield or in screen plays, his catch percentage is a testament to how good he is, but also a testament to how often they are able to get him the ball with a chance to make a play. That's what the offense is designed for Shakir. And can they get somebody on the outside that they do that for? And then for the defense, if they draft a defensive tackle, I almost want to say no matter who it is.
Yep.
All right, well, they like this guy for the future, and they've added their free agent pieces. It's,
yep.
we're 10 days out, and I just think we're going to end up being happy. It's a matter of where they move around the board. Put it this way, here's one way you could spark outrage, I suppose. You trade next year's first to move up to 14th. Mm-hmm. And even then,
like when the Saints, the Saints did that for Marcus Davenport.
Marcus
right?
Davenport, yeah.
Yeah, they traded their future first to go get a defensive end.
And they get a defensive end or a defensive tackle, but it's a move way up the board.
Yeah.
There's going to be, that's the closest I could get to for should they have done that. Why would
Sure.
And it wouldn't even really be about, to me, as we're mock reacting to drafts here, it wouldn't even be about how dare you spend that future first. For me, it would be more, is that the right position? Was this the right player to do it for?
Right. That would be it for me.
That'd be the only thing. Why couldn't you have done this last year for Brian Thomas Jr. or for whatever?
And couldn't they only do that for a defensive end right now? That you could see that, what's the position they would do that for? They move up 15, because you got to value that position a lot if you're not just spending a first on it, but that you're spending an extra first to go get it. You're not doing that for a defensive tackle, right?
No.
You've pointed out their value system for defensive tackles in the past. What a 180 shift it would be to go from plug and play, just grab whoever we can in the middle of the season at defensive tackle.
Firsts,
we're gonna throw 2 firsts at it in one guy.
What if Travis Hunter falls to 8?
Oh, I mean, trade 3 firsts.
And you trade 2. You trade your. And we're sitting here saying, well, they gave up next year's first, but they did it for Travis Hunter.
Yeah, my next question is going to be what position. He better be playing receiver if you traded that much to go get him.
Yeah.
Well, actually, you better be playing both if you invested that much. But even a corner might be better. But I can only see that idea for a defensive end, and I don't think it's likely.
Well, let me give you a name because over the weekend it was reported Shamar Stewart's another one that came in for a visit. Or they worked him out a private workout.
Yeah.
And the last mock I saw, he's going 15th to Atlanta. Is there a player that they like so much? I mean, trading up for Josh, trading up. By the way, when they traded up for Allen, they did not trade a future first.
Right.
That was one of the things.
Second?
They did.
Yeah.
They had 2 firsts. It's really one of the most amazing things Beane has done. Put the sunglasses on for that one because he has 2 firsts, and he moves up. And he actually holds the line and says, I'm not giving up that other first.
He moved up. If you want to count the first trade up, too, he moves up in 2 trades 22-7
without giving up
his
an
quarterback
extra first.
Without giving up a future first.
It's a masterclass. That leap is. So
yeah, it took Cordy Glenn in a second.
Yeah.
And some other stuff.
To go 15 spots. And again, you need your guy to fall there. They were trying to go up to 4. Maybe go back in time when the Broncos say, they're going to take Bradley Chubb. They stick and pick. Mm-hmm. Had the Broncos said, we'll take that second first, would they have done it for that? But because the Broncos wouldn't take the deal, now you are able to hold on to that.
It's a good question.
That extra first. Anyway, trying to think of like how people could be upset. Maybe
I
a
don't
big
think
move up.
There's not much though.
No, I agree.